With all these mirrorless on the market, it's very hard to basically choose something and stick with it. And I'm not a fanboy. I like to change systems. I like to try things. And when I'm finding something that it's good for me and that works, I'll probably stick with it. But if something else comes up, I'll probably switch to that. Nonetheless, this is not important today. We're talking about the 3 lenses that I bought, actually 4, but one of them is filming me right now, for my Nikon Z6II. So there will be a lot of videos about Nikon, and because I got the system and because I have it, I can help you and explain things that you might not understand, or show you how good or how bad this system is. So subscribe to the channel and let's get to it. Okay, now these 3 lenses that I'm trying to tell you about today are present in any system: micro four thirds, APS-C, full frame, medium format, in different focal lengths, obviously, because it depends on the sensor. But these are the ones that I think every and any photographer should have in their bag. And I chose the, let's say, cheapest version of these lenses, not necessarily the S version or the Z mount version of them, and I'm gonna explain you why I did that in a different video. But today we're gonna talk about these ones a little bit and why are important. First of all, this is the 50mm f1.8 FS lens. This one is a lens that everyone knows. It's a cheap plastic lens that you can use on your DSLR, and because Nikon provides the FTZ adapter, you can use this lens on your mirrorless Z camera, and it actually works very well. I tried it, and we're gonna again talk in a different video. I'm gonna do a review of these lenses on the FTZ adapter, but for me works very well. And I'm not a 50mm shooter. I rarely grab this lens, but it's a very reliable lens, and it's a focal length that is very loved, because it's pretty much what we're seeing with our eyes. The focal length of 50mm, it's a very common focal length in street photography and portraiture and product photography. People are using it for everything and anything. So this one was the first one, and again, I am very happy with it. It's a cheap lens, around $200, and I can say that it's a good investment just because I can adapt it on the Z6II. I can put it on my Fuji Film S5 Pro because it does have the F mount. It's a great lens to have, and it's not expensive at all. Now the second one, it's obviously an S mount lens. Not obviously, but I thought, why not going with, you know, native lenses? And this one is not a Nikon lens, but it does have the Z mount, which means it fits without an adapter. This is the Viltrox 85mm f1.8, and it's a great lens. It's well built. I said in the previous video that it resembles the 85-1.8 from Sony, and I think the 1.8 from Canon, as well as the Panasonic version of it. So it's just an 85mm f1.8. It's very good. It focuses fast. I tried it on a few portraits around the house. I didn't do it and didn't use it professionally yet because I didn't have any kind of gigs lately, and I am eager to, you know, see how this does in a really professional environment. But for a quick test, it's a great lens. It does have a very nice huge element. It does have all the coatings. It's not bad at all. I am very happy to see that this lens will definitely help me in my let's say professional work. Maybe if I want to start doing different stuff like portraits on the streets and stuff like that. Nonetheless, 1.8 is a huge wide aperture for shooting on a full frame. You get a lot of depth of field, you get a lot of bokeh, and this is something that I'm looking for, especially for professional work. Now, the lens is built out of metal. It does have only one metal ring that is obviously the focus ring, because it's a fixed aperture and a fixed focal length. So you don't have, let's say, an aperture ring, just this focus ring. It feels smooth and pretty well damped. I'm not sure how the chromatic aberrations and the distortion and everything is on this lens, because like I said, I didn't shoot much with it, and I'm putting an emphasis on that because I'm never doing a review of a lens before I'm testing it fully, and this one is not tested fully, but I love the lens. So the second one is the 85-1.8. Now, consequently, the next lens should be a zoom lens, because when you're shooting professional, especially events, you need a long or longer focal length, or a variable focal length, let's say from 50 to 250 or 200, depending on your style of shooting. Mine is the 70 to 200 f2.8. As you can tell, this one already has the FTZ adapter on, and it's the Tamron 70 to 200 G2. I'm gonna tell you the whole name is SP7200 f2.8 DI-VC USD G2. It's a mouthful, but what's important is that this one is the last release in terms of this focal length for DSLR, for Nikon and Canon. In the Tamron lineup, it's the 70-200 G2, and this lens works like a breeze. I use it for a little bit of wildlife and a little bit, you know, longer distance subjects, and the autofocus is good, though like I said, I'm using the FTZ adapter on it, and it's because it's made for the DSLR, for the F mount. I appreciate the fact that Tamron went above to build this lens and made it out of metal. It has a heft to it, it's kind of heavy, but I don't mind that because this is not a lens that I'm using every day, all day, and I don't think it's that heavy to make you feel, you know, weighted down by the fact that you're carrying for an hour or two. Well, the thing that I wanted to say is that I really appreciate Tamron for doing all the putting all the options on this lens, these switches right here. One of them is obviously the autofocus manual focus switch. The other one is the vibration reduction, or the vibration, I think it's called compensation or something like that. And the other one is the modes for the vibration compensation. It has 3 modes depending on the situation that you're shooting. If you're shooting, let's say, slow moving subjects, you can use the mode 1. If you're using subjects that needs a little bit of panning and they're a little bit faster, you can choose mode 2. And if you're shooting, let's say, birds in flight, or things that are super fast or erratical subjects running in front of your frame, I think you can use mode 3. I didn't test them all, but I will, and I'm gonna tell you how it works on the Z6II, because this is what matters most. That's why I bought them, to use them on the Z6II. But the good thing for me is that I can use these lenses on the S5 Pro, the Fujifilm S5 Pro, which has an F mount. Actually, it's an APS-C F mount, but it's still an F mount, and I can use these lenses on that one if I want to mess around and play with an old DSLR. This lens also has a Arca Swiss plate on the tripod mount, which is very helpful. I have no idea why you know, the companies that are building these new lenses, especially the long ones, are not doing this for every single lens, because it's very helpful. I don't have to put a plate. I'm just popping it on my tripod, and that's it. It also has this collar here that you can definitely turn, and it turns if you want to, let's say, switch the camera without turning it, and you can just turn the lens in. It's not very smooth. It feels a bit, let's say, crunchy and grudgy, because like I said, this lens is half the price. Or if I didn't, I'm gonna tell you now. This is half the price, the 70-200 VR lens, even for the DSLR, for the F mount, and less than half the price on the 70-200 S version for the Z mount. So I cheap out when I bought these lenses, but I am very, very happy with the results, and you will be too. So these are the 3 that I have in front of me. The 4th one is the 35mm f1.8 S lens. This is a Z mount lens. native lens. I wanted to have this lens for all kinds of street photography, all kinds of wide situations, for filming me until I'm getting my cinema camera that I will probably have next week. And this is the lens that can do it all. It's a very sharp lens. The depth of field and the bokeh is very good. I am super pleased with this lens, and I heard only good things about the 50mm f1.8s as well, which I will probably get soon. And if I see that I need that lens and I'm gonna use this one more than I usually do, I will probably switch to the 50mm f1s.
You suck!
So the battery just died on me. But I was saying that if I will realize that this lens, the 50-1.8, it's gonna get a lot of use and I'm gonna reach more and more for it, more than I usually do, I will probably switch to the 50mm f1s, which is the native lens for the Z mount. And yeah, that is pretty much it. So this is my basically setup right now for anything professional: the 50-1.8 f mount with the FTZ adapter, the 70-200 G2 from Tamron with the FTZ adapter, the 85mm f1.8 from Viltrox, that is a third-party manufacturer, and I'm happy that they got into building lenses for the Z mount. But this one is a native mount for the Z. So that one, and the 35mm f1.8s, which is my all-around lens that I love. I already love a lot. Now for future videos, we're gonna do not necessarily reviews, but probably talks and impressions of all these lenses, and stay for that. And you know, subscribe to the channel, and if you like these videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't, there are a ton of them in my photography videos playlist. And again, I am very happy to do these videos for you, even though you are not super interested in the latest ones that I put on. I'm trying to change things, and I know the change is always hard to accept, but we're not gonna have a lot of videos in the studio. We're gonna have more videos outside, pretty much like those that I already put, maybe a little bit more refined, and the sound is gonna be better. For now, I'm just trying to see how that works. Don't forget to stay focused, my friends. Don't forget to shoot every day and create every day. It's very important. And I will definitely see you in a bit.